All right, friends, welcome back to another session of East Texas University. Class dismissed. As is the norm, I'll thank Shane Hensley and Clint Black for this wonderful Savage Worlds game system. I'll thank Preston DeBose and Ed Wetterman for all their work putting together the East Texas University genre of Savage Worlds. Duff, thanks an awful lot for offering to upload our videos to YouTube on the Prater's Rejects channel, and for everything you do, both outward facing and behind the scenes. Mai, as always, thank you for the artwork. We do glean just so much fun and pleasure from seeing the portrait you put together and breathe lives into these two-dimensional character sheets that represent our characters. And Corey, talk to you fairly often. Got to say hello, and it would be reticent of me to not thank you for running this campaign 2 years ago, getting us up to the beginning of sophomore year before real life took over, and just as a testament and testimony to your good hard work and the fun that you gave us, we picked up these sheets, blew the dust off, and we're carrying on. And I hope you approve. So yeah, class dismissed. East Texas University. We're using the Fantasy Grounds role-playing virtual desktop, OBS sort of linking everything together. We have Discord for our video and audio feeds, and our imaginations, most importantly of all. So with that, I'll just go across the cells as they appear, and one by one, say a little bit about anything you'd like to say, who you are, who your character is, why you like role-playing games, anything that just comes to mind. So we'll start with Ava.
Hello, I play Ava Rodriguez in our ETU game. This little petite Mexican American girl who's very shy and terribly afraid of boys, which she is working hard to overcome through her best friend Shep. um, yeah, that's about it for her.
Okay. Next, let's go to Shep.
Well, Shep is just your typical nerd in Texas, I guess. He he's a little bit weird, as the group is finding out. He's got some family background and some uh, supernatural activities, and he's trying his best to stay on Ava's good side.
As are we all. Okay. Sophia, I was hoping to get you with a mouthful of sushi, but having failed that, I'll just
No,
ask you to
I put my food away.
to to do likewise. To describe anything that you'd like about you, your character, role playing games in general. Take it away.
I play Sophia. She's nervous, bad-sided, weirdly afraid of trees. Trauma in her childhood. She's an art major. She's just getting by, doing her best.
Outstanding. So we'll start off the game as we usually do. Shep, let's roll on that curse table. And by roll, I mean I'm going to draw a card. I hope I draw a jack this time. Nope. A 5. Spirit rolls to recover from shaken are at -2 for this session. So if you don't get shaken, it won't even come into play. Let's have that spirit roll. Let's see about your second fiddle hindrance, Shep. Spirit at -2. You'll get one less Benny because you feel down on yourself that you're a second fiddle, never the person that gets all the credit. Oh, that is at -2. That would be a 2 and a failure. It's interesting. Do you spend a Benny to re-roll, or do you just let me take a Benny? Your choice. And you may be muted if you're not talking. Hello, Shep. Did we lose Shep? Did I lose anybody? Ava, I can't hear you. I see you waving. I see Sophia rocking back and forth and laughing. Can you hear me? Sophia can hear me. Ava can hear me. I can't hear you. Can all hear you, but you can't hear us. It wouldn't be a game of ETU in Fantasy Grounds with Discord if we didn't have some technical difficulties. So let's see. The easiest thing would be to stop the call. And then everybody can call back in. Let's just disconnect the call and see if that helps.
Is that working out for you?
Okay, I hear voices.
Oh, wonderful.
I hear voices. I see 4 squares. I don't see my own. I guess maybe I have to turn on my camera. That would help. That would help a great deal.
Yeah.
Can you hear us now?
I can. I can absolutely hear you now. Yeah, it just wouldn't be a
Yay.
game. Wouldn't be a game without a little technical glitches. Keep us on our toes. Try to break our our confidence. Try to break our concentration.
Break.
We're not going to
It's
let
gotta
it.
happen at least once in a while.
That's right. We'll recover and we will soldier on bravely. So, Shep, would you like to burn a Benny and attempt to re-roll, or simply give up a Benny?
No, I'm good. Although Tante may mute you again if you're mean to me.
Okay. Perhaps you will spray me with bouillabaisse.
Oh yeah.
Shep is down to the session start. 2 Bennies. So when last we played, you fled the Quiet Villa Rest Homes, a trailer park with FEMA trailers where people go to live out the rest of their days in reasonable comfort and enjoying the pastimes of watching TV and some gardening. And that nice Jimmy Buck, the manager of the Quiet Villas Rest Facility, collects the trash, performs maintenance work, keeps the place running and humming, was up to some nefarious stuff. He was in some way animating the deceased residents as zombies, and the party found he was collecting their Social Security checks because they found a stack of empty envelopes. Perhaps, quick count, 2/3 of the residents of this trailer park had been animated in this manner. So they escaped, they fled, helped by 2 young gentlemen in a van that were replacing the carpeting and the padding in one of the units as the day of work drew to a close. Visited the risen church, spoke to the father there. He said he would take care of the further investigation of what had come into play there, and took to heart their warnings of these plaques that gave a cold, clammy feeling of evil. And there was one mounted in each of the interior trailers that they saw, with the exception of the trailer of Jimmy Buck. Ava purchased a Squirrel Girl comic book, one that was not in mint pristine condition, but nevertheless it was one that it was an early issue that she had not acquired as yet. So until she could get one in that nice fresh Ziploc bag that's never been opened or touched by fingertips, this will have to do. It's in good condition, except there was some scribbling, some symbols in the margins of 4 contiguous pages. And the study group's roommate, Mir, determined that it wasn't Farsi, but it was Urdu, and with the help of his uncle overseas, was able to piece together what it said. And it pointed to a predatory feline somewhere in a high perch, guarding a ritual, a spell that would allow one to pierce the darkness. So I've shown a side profile of a water tower, which does indeed have the ETU Fighting Ravens logo on the north face, and on the south face, the Pinebox High School Panther. And the group has surmised that there might be a ritual scribbled or painted or in some way illustrated somewhere around that panther head, some 120, 125 feet up in the air on what looked to be a narrow walking platform that surrounds the bulb of the water tower. To make matters worse, the ladder had been removed. The lower 12 or so feet had been removed to keep people from climbing the tower on dares or hoping to go up and do graffiti. And to make matters worse yet, the cement platform and a few outbuildings are on about an acre or 2 of land, surrounded by a stout chain link fence, padlocked shut, which, if unlocked and opened, would permit a service vehicle to enter that acreage and drive right up to one of these small outbuildings or to the large Pinebox Water Tower itself. So I think when we broke, unless I'm mistaken, at the end of last session, you were all outside of the fence. You had parked a vehicle surreptitiously farther away, perhaps down one of the adjoining streets. And in the waning hours of sunlight, you are standing outside the fence looking at the padlock, at the acreage, at the outbuildings, and of course, the water tower. And let's see. I shared the profile of the water tower. I wonder if Sophia, do you see it? There. So, Sophia, I cannot hear you.
Button that turns on my mic.
Ah.
It lights up.
So just like when your automobile is acting up, sometimes it's the loose nut behind the steering wheel.
Oh.
And I hear Ava. And Shep, you still with us?
What,
Yep.
Good.
what I said was, did you want me to roll a notice check, or are you referring to the image that's on the screen of the water tower map?
Just the image itself. I
Okay.
looked down in the lower left-hand corner of Fantasy Grounds of this image, and I only saw 2 of the 3 players' icons thusly displayed. So I shared it one more time, just so I can see all of your heads. I don't know, maybe if you dismissed it to declutter your user interface, maybe your icon goes away. But at any rate, wanted to make sure you all had a pretty good sort of thumbnail sketch in your mind of what this water tower looks like.
Mhm.
Thank you.
But certainly. So you're standing out, you're looking in, like kids looking in the candy store window, wondering, is this indeed going to be the location of another one of those wonderful, powerful, and rare rituals? And certainly you can think of no small number of applications for the dark sight spell, which you have surmised may be concealed at this location. And as a reminder, there is also a cat logo on the Hidalgo like hardware and refinery store facade elsewhere in town. Good place to buy like baling wire and machine oil in larger than 1 quart amounts. So you're looking in. What would you like to do?
Well, when we were last talking about it, I think that we wanted to check out just underneath the big thing. I guess that area that's kind of gated off. So we don't want to go up the ladder just yet, but we do want to check underneath on perhaps the side where the panther head is to
Okay,
see if we can't find anything in there.
sure.
Uh,
Down at ground level, it could either be inscribed
yeah.
into the cement base, and it should not be a surprise that that cement is very thick, as
Mhm.
the water tower, when full, or when empty, but especially when full, is immensely heavy. So 10, 12 feet of poured cement for the base of this is probably a reasonable guess. So it could be inscribed on the cement, or it could be inscribed on perhaps the leg. If you think of this as like a
Mhm.
giant spider almost, with its legs very rigid and straight, it could be inscribed on one of the legs that would be directly under the head of that wild cat.
If I figured it would be a good place to at least start looking before we head into more dangerous territory above.
So it occurs to you this the fence around this water tower is in very good repair. It's not very rusty. Looks like it's made with some of that zinc oxide coated
Mm.
metal. You could climb it. There is there are a pair of lines of like barbed wire at the top at an angle to dissuade you
Mhm.
from climbing up and over. There is a stout padlock on the door, which you could either try to pick or you could just ram the assembly with Shep's truck. Um,
That worked
remembering that
out
it
so
already,
well.
yes, it already took a little front end damage as it impacted the metal stairs in the front of Jimmy Buck's trailer in the Quiet Villa rest home.
Yeah,
But as I
I don't
remarked,
think we
it's
need that.
Texas, and such damage occurs frequently and is often not repaired, so that damage does not stand out on the streets of Pinebox, Texas.
Let's maybe not wreck poor Shep's truck.
Only,
Especially,
Anymore,
only if
right?
he's okay with it. And I said I'd help with repairs.
I mean, it might.
yeah, I think it's time for Sophia to get a one of those sidecars for her motorcycle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
Or a
But
sidecar for Ava's Vespa.
I don't think it'd be as cool on a Vespa.
It'd be cute.
Yeah. Yeah. Shep could angle his his long frame into the sidecar, and put on one of those like white round
Oh my
hemispherical
gosh.
helmets with the pull down
Just
goggles.
imagine that poor boy's knees just popping out of that little thing.
Cool. Mm-mm-mm.
Oh boy. Um, maybe trying to pick a padlock would be a better, more discreet idea.
Didn't
It's
I
a
find
stout,
something last week
indeed.
or last time we played in order to pick that lock?
Indeed, you
Mm,
did find a few pieces of metal, and did find them to be agreeable, just thick enough that it wouldn't snap
oh
easily,
yeah.
but malleable enough that you could form a little hook or a little like right angle bend that may influence one's success in picking a stout padlock. And this is a key padlock, not one of the ones with the little roller um, combination.
Mm. Well, if you know how to pick a lock, Sophia,
Hmm. I can try this.
I would suggest giving it a try, or if I can help in some way.
Why, Sophia, I never knew you have a D6 skill in
Yeah,
thievery.
yeah. I never. I mean, figured it's useful with scavenging
Why, certainly.
around.
It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Why, certainly. And in the Savage Worlds game system, your target number for success is a 4. And as player characters, your wild cards, and you get that wild dice. So you get to roll 2 dice to try to hit that target number of 4. This is going to be a straight up roll
Okay.
of thievery.
Hey.
A 5 and a
Ooh.
3. Click. The padlock pops open. It is attached to a length of stout chain that goes around the main pipes that form the swinging gate and the very last vertical strut of the chain link fence.
Mm.
So all you have to do is undo one of the chains, let it hang, pull it through a little bit, and you have an unobstructed means of entering this gate. I imagine there's also one of those like letter U shaped on a hinge sort of flip latches that just keeps it
Mm.
from blowing open if
Yeah,
it's not locked. But raising that into the position is a easy thing.
makes sense to me. So you got it open.
Yeah,
Nice.
I did it. Let's go
Good
do the
job.
thing.
Let's
Okay.
check this out. Do we know? So we'll check the side that has the panther head and see if there aren't any weird scribblings up around to
Okay.
give us a little more detail on this little riddle that we found.
So when you go in, how do you secure the gate? I guess your options are to leave it swung open, to close it and only lower that vertical letter U to keep it latched, but not do anything with the lock. Or you could secure yourselves in here by deftly padlocking it and then moving the padlock to the outside again. I just want to know how,
We
in case you have to leave in a hurry or in case somebody else comes up and inspects the padlock. It's sort of a trade off. How secure would you like this gate to be?
I think we could just lock it back up. I think
are you
I feel pretty confident we can get back out of here.
Okay. Any further usage of that hook that you made? I will give you a +2 to your
fancy?
roll, having done it
Yay.
once. You kind of had that light touch, and just when you feel that resistance to give it just the slightest little twist, and that little devil just popped right open. So you lock yourself in. I imagine you make sure the padlock is on the outside of the gate. Reaching through to unlock it again will not be uh, an issue, even for somebody that had large hands could still do
Yeah.
it.
I don't want to. Yes, I don't want it to look like someone messed with it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sure, you approach. You use the cover of any bushes or trees that are growing outside of the gate to sort of do a perimeter approach around the cement pad, and then you eyeball from a discrete distance where that feline's head is, and your eyes trace down to the base, and there's one of those spider legs roughly corresponds to the position of that head. It's not perfect, but it's close. And using that little outbuilding that's on that side as cover, you sort of run up, take advantage of the shadows for a moment, catch your breath, and then approach the water tower. Now, this thing is very large. It's hard to appreciate until you're actually right up against it just how big this thing is, and very tall, dizzyingly tall. But you are at the cement base.
Hmm. Oh, Shep has disappeared. There he is.
Yes. And I'd make you make a notice roll, but you really don't see anything in the waning rays of the uh, dinner time sun. Don't see anything that looks like even graffiti at this level.
Hmm.
We're
It's
gonna have to go up, aren't we?
it's
Oh
more
boy.
it's a horizontal surface, right? And you would imagine the
Mhm.
people that do their art like to do it on vertical surfaces so it can be seen, such as right way up at the top of the tower.
There's nothing on the stem
There
of
is
this thing either.
there is not.
All right. Well, we checked the bottom. I guess now we have to check the top.
I'd imagine in my mind's eye on each of these legs, if you look at the right place at the right height, probably etched in or there's a plate that's attached to the leg that has like a part number, J723 or something like that. As it
Hmm.
was probably the pieces were of course constructed elsewhere and hauled here for assembly, one tier, if you will, at a time. But aside from just the rudimentary imprinted plate with a part number, doesn't seem to be any ritual embossed into the stem or the cement platform.
Okay. Um, the ladder is in here as well, or is it on the outside?
The ladder is on the outside of one of those stems, one of those
Mm.
rigid spider legs. Moreover, on the ETU Fighting Ravens logo on that
Mm.
side.
But it's within the gate that we broke into.
Oh, yes. All you would
Okay.
have to do is get up on the cement platform, which you probably already were on as you were
Mhm.
looking, cross past the huge tube that forms the main like drainage line of this.
Yeah.
And that thing is about 20 feet. It's a tall cylinder, like a chimney, that joins the bottom of the bulb, which is like 100 feet up in the air. You'd walk right by that huge metal chimney, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's on one of those stem legs on the other side. And
Okay.
just to give you a good visual description, a good description of how this looks, even though the bottom 12 to 16ish feet have been cut away, once if you could reach that ladder, it looks like there are safety precautions in effect. Not only is it a ladder that is attached securely to the vertical leg, but there's also an encasing, a of like vertical and horizontal bands that would keep you from falling backwards. You're almost
Ah,
you're almost crawling up inside the lattice work of a tube. It's not a
yeah,
solid tube. It's got bands to
yeah.
give you a degree of safety.
It's
Should you
like a
become
metal safety net.
should you become dizzy. Now, if you were to fall straight down, you would fall all to the ground and probably hit the ladder a few times on your way down.
Yeah.
But if you lean back, the upper part of your torso, your shoulders, would probably abut a portion of that lattice work.
Hmm. Okay. So we have
Be
to
too
do some
hard.
kind of a human ladder to get up to this thing because he said it was like 10 feet off the ground. So I think since Ava is the smallest, it would probably be best to put her atop the pyramid. She would definitely not be a good base.
We can boost you up. The two of us, I think.
I'm gonna look up
There
and
you
Like
try
go
to.
from
like
there.
on like a toddler on someone's shoulders, just like reaching up for something.
I like it.
Yeah. Somebody like just pick up tiny little Ava.
And then you're
That's
just on
so
our
funny,
shoulders.
right?
The
It's
local
funny.
water authority of Pinebox, Texas, the water plant and elevated tower. The water tower is massive. It is painted with a raven facing north, so you can see it from the
Mhm.
university, and a panther facing south, so you can see it from the football stadium of the high school, Pinebox High School.
Mhm.
It was once, oh, you're going to like the way that this sentence reads. It was once a common target for vandalism and shenanigans
Hey.
up, at, up until the city cut off the bottom 18 feet of the service ladder. Probably to keep people from forming, oh, I don't know, human pyramids with the small girls up top to try to scale. Uh, And as an aside, so they cut off the bottom 18 feet of the service ladder. Now only die-hard adventurers would still scale its heights. Although they say one can find all sorts of weird graffiti at the top.
That's pretty funny.
I would like a notice roll from all three of you.
Sure.
Just a straight up notice roll. Sophia is looking around to see if any trees are in the area.
You never know.
Because that could be bad. Shep,
Dang.
natural 1 on his trait roll, but a 5 beats the target number unless it's something that I want to be a little harder to see. In Savage Worlds, things work in increments of 4, where if a 4 is your target number for a success, if you beat that number by an increment of 4, say with an 8, it's called a raise. And in this case, you would get a little extra information if you beat it by 2 increments of 4. Let's say somehow a dice explodes because these dice are open-ended at the top. With a d4, you could roll up in the 20s if you just keep rolling a 4 and it keeps adding and rolling, adding and rolling. If you beat it by 2 increments, you might get something that someone with very eagle eyes and good attention span might see. So Shep, you got a 5, which is a success. Ava, would you like to Benny that? Or Sophia, would you like to Benny that?
I will do so.
I don't think my ADHD is gonna let me, even with the bennies.
Yeah.
But I can morally support someone else.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, go you.
And those trees, they're everywhere.
You never know.
That's more like it. Not quite a
Sprout up out of the
raise.
ground.
An 8 would be a raise. But Shep and Ava, both of you looking up. It seems that on the inside, like on the left-hand side of that ladder, if you could get up there, not only are there the rungs of the ladder where you would step, and the struts on the side, and of course the lattice work that encases in a cylindrical tubular fashion. It looks like there is a long metal strut that runs up next to the ladder that
Oh.
I think I would be able to explain to you if you could not derive its usage with a smarts roll.
Let's do it. Smarts roll. Oh no.
If
I
she
need
pointed that out to me, could I also make the roll?
Sure you
Or is
can.
that for everyone?
Sure you
I
can.
will Benny that horrible roll.
Okay.
It's the better.
The vertical strut that runs vertically right next to the ladder, it occurs to you that is something that you would strap something to as a safety aid, such that if you were to fall, somehow you would not fall
Oh,
more
he
than.
froze.
He froze. I thought everybody froze for a second. Oh, there you are. You're back.
Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah,
It
you
wouldn't.
froze in the middle of your explanation.
The gremlins that are watching this game are on your side. They just desperately don't want me to kill your characters, and they're trying all of their shenanigans to try to keep this game from going
Oh
smoothly.
gosh.
So the last thing I said was, it looks like this vertical strut would be something you would strap something to if you were climbing, that would give you that extra degree of safety should you slip off. If it was something attached to somebody, they could limit their fall to like one of the 4-foot lengths of strut and not fall all the way to the base of the ladder. If for some reason they got dizzy and lost consciousness, couldn't grab the ladder or the lattice work. So that's what you think that vertical bar is for, and it does with those successes. It looks like it's in four. It's like a letter U that's been elongated, so it comes out a little bit, about 2 inches, and then it's about 4 feet high, and then it loops back in and is secured back to the base, to one of the vertical struts. So something could slide up and down it about 4 feet, and then there's another one above it and another one above it. So it's broken up into like little 4 feet segments.
I didn't think we don't have any kind of
We
rope.
have no climbing equipment because we expected the ladder to be enough.
Well, why don't we? How about instead of trying to do this during this like evening time, we go back home and see if we can't prep a little better and come back tomorrow.
Like
Because
go to
if
a sports
this
shop or something.
like if this particular thing would allow us to kind of gain some, more feet to get closer to this ladder, maybe we could just grab some rope or something to help us climb up there. What do you
This
think?
this conversation
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
provides each of you with a Benny.
Ah, thanks.
More pennies.
Cause
I'm going to metagame a little bit and just simply say that falling from the walkway would probably do about 8d6 plus 8 points of damage, and if it
I
didn't
expected.
outright kill you, it would maim your character.
Oh
you
yeah,
mean
broken
from the
bones and
very
all.
top?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely not planning on falling from up there anytime soon.
Things sometimes happen that you haven't planned on.
So
Yeah.
so we'll yeah. What do you guys think? Maybe we can prep and come back tomorrow, at least for this section, And then if we find nothing, we can just go down to the Hidalgos and see if there's anything over there.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Yep.
Because this is technically the same day that we went to do all of the trailer park stuff, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So
Very busy day.
It is.
let's do that.
And you're still feeling a little bit queasy from the after effects of the
Oh, yeah.
chili and the somewhat explosive diarrhea that was
Let's
the unfortunate
we
result.
need a break. We need some
Gatorade.
We need some Gatorade, Pepto Bismol,
Pedialyte.
all of the above.
Some electrolytes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Stop by a 7-Eleven.
Sophia, I'll take another thieving roll because
Okay.
it would be bad if you were to crit fail. That would probably mean that little hook snapped off
Huh.
inside the padlock and
Yes.
maybe devilishly hard to retrieve without a pair of needle nose pliers or something.
So, Benny.
Not quite a crit fail. There you go.
Man,
Click.
this is just bad.
You jinxed me.
You imagine next time you arrive, just one of those like little square cans of kind of like the oil that you would use for a small machine, kind of like for like a sewing machine or something. They make like the little squeezy cans with a plastic cap. You think a little bit of oil might go a long way inside this padlock, as it is exposed to the elements. But you slip out. You really don't think anyone noticed you. Certainly no cars seem to have driven by in the time that you were in there. It was all of about 25 minutes, I'd say.
Cool.
You hop in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
You head out.
In the middle.
And let's see. How about a common knowledge roll?
All of us?
All of you.
What do I know?
Yay.
Shep and Sophia, you think you should get on like Amazon or some sort of rock climbing enthusiast website with a online store and order, or at least look and see what the offerings are in terms of equipment for climbing. Ava, at some point you either visited or you were talking to someone, probably a young lady you were talking to, who was a climbing enthusiast. And you know that the Fork It Up pawn shop in town has a little bit of everything, including stereo components, firearms, compound bows, crossbows, ammunition, athletic equipment, probably climbing equipment, camping gear, at a pretty reasonable markdown as it is a pawn shop.
That sounds like a great time. Guys, we need to
Yeah.
go to this pawn shop.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to
It
wait for
has-
shipping.
It has all the stuff that we may need and then some.
Oh, the Pine Box, that's a plus 2 days to the delivery. Just as an aside, I ordered a replacement glass shield for my cell phone. I ordered it Saturday and it arrived on Sunday because I'm in Denver and I'm like 3/4 of a mile away from one of the Amazon distribution warehouses.
Nice.
Next
Wow.
day on a Sunday. It's amazing. So, and we'll say that, yeah, it probably wasn't a boy you were talking to, Ava. It was probably a young girl, and she was
Probably
a rock
not.
climbing. She was a rock climbing enthusiast, and darned if they didn't have a set of pitons and a mallet that she purchased for cheap at the Fork It Up
Nice.
pawn
Probably a
shop.
classmate. Be great.
Yeah, yeah.
Poor kid.
Awesome. Yes. The
Straight there?
fork it up. Well, is it very late evening or?
It's getting on to be about 7:30.
Hmm.
They might be getting ready to close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
let's
could
just
check tomorrow morning.
stop by a CVS and go home.
Yep. Buy some
Let's do it.
Gatorade, some Imodium AD,
We're gonna need some
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 TP,
for the medicine cabinet.
and
Stock up because
and
Mira and Erica probably won't be feeling that great.
and
Ooh.
maybe a little a bag of dog treats for Rocco.
Poor Rocco.
Rocco deserves all of them. No, he's the only one that
He
is
did
okay.
it? Okay, good.
He
Good.
didn't eat
I
anything.
couldn't remember.
Yep. And Ava, you're just thinking, wow. I mean, if we get home, I'd really like to just give a thorough read to that Squirrel Girl comic book.
Heck yeah.
And I mean, you are college students, so it probably would benefit you to, crack a book, do a little bit of studying, maybe do a little research online, or in a book that you've checked out on a term paper that you know is going to be due just right around the corner.
You can
Sort of organize your
take
stuff for
take all the
class.
medicine we need for tonight.
Right.
Stay up reading some goodies.
You also froze again, so if you said anything else after check, we didn't hear it.
Uh-oh.
Am
No.
I back?
Yes.
You're back.
Okay. I didn't say anything interested.
What else is there?
I just blather on and on and on. So yeah, you get back to your apartment. Mir is sitting watching TV with his leg propped up. Looks like he's got a device that he's using that he rests his leg on and it's strapped to it, and it very slowly bends his leg at the knee joint and then straightens it back out again without quite hyperextending it. And it just is doing that in a slow motion. Over the course of about 45 seconds to a minute, it completes one rotation of up and down.
I warned him not to touch the chili unless he already has.
Oh, he said, I had 2 bowls.
Oh.
Ooh.
He said, I aced my vigor roll. It's delicious.
Well
Take
then.
some of this just in case.
So you hear the toilet flush. Erica, tall blonde pre-med student who is a rodeo queen, she comes out with a magazine in her hand, and as she sees you guys as she's coming down the hallway, she's waving that thing up and down, and she's like, "Hooey! Don't go in there. Let it air out a little bit, y'all."
You gotta crack that window open.
And she sits down next to Mir, and we'll say they may have been watching Adventures in Babysitting or something like that. Mir reaches down and starts it up again. Y'all want to watch a movie? It's a good one.
I'll sit down and watch.
Okay. Rocco gets up, and as you come in, you've probably got some plastic bags of a little Gatorade and perhaps some over-the-counter medicine, and probably had to pick up a magazine and a candy bar and a thing of mints, and by the time you guys left, you probably dropped $20-$25.
Well stocked.
Yeah. Rocco comes over and he's kind of sniffing the bags just to see if there's anything tasty that smells wonderful in it. It all smells like just boring human plastic stuff. So he goes back, lets out a sigh, turns around 3 times, and sits down, kind of at the edge of the couch, like on the other side of the cushion, with the armrest, where Mir's sort of sitting between his spot on the floor and where Mir is.
That's cute.
Erica's like, I heard y'all got like a riddle. Did y'all find that magic ritual y'all's looking for?
We found it. Well,
Wait, did we?
Wait,
Y'all
no,
did?
we know where it is, but
Cool.
we haven't reached it yet.
So you don't know what them components are.
We have to. We're having a hard time trying to reach places. I'm not very tall,
Right.
Oh,
but we'll figure it out. We're gonna figure it out tomorrow.
yeah. Gotta do some
It's been a
climbing.
long
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
Erica's
exhausted.
5'11", and without question, there are numerous times that she has reached stuff on the higher shelves for you, Ava. For you are quite diminutive, are you not?
I am exactly 1 foot shorter than she is.
Hmm. Usually she's wearing those cowboy boots, which add an inch, maybe an inch and a half heel to her height.
Man, breaking 6 feet tall over here.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, I think that Ava will probably skip the movie, but she's still curious about fish soup coming out of Shep's hands. So she is going to ask Shep to help her with something, which is just a ruse at the end of the day. Or come check out this comic book with her because she needs to figure out what the heck happened.
Yep. Erica smiles. Yep. Going to read the comic book. Yep. Mm-hmm. She gives Mir a knowing look, and Mir shakes his head and smiles and winks at her.
Sophia's just giggling.
Yeah, Sophia, it's going to be a challenging semester. Chemistry is not an easy class, and you made it through. What's the class? Is it the first year sophomore or the second year freshman? The one that they use to weed out chemistry students that should really be taking the chemistry for non-majors classes. Was it
Me.
PChem?
Oh,
Was
are
it
you talking
physical?
about me?
Was it physical chem? Oh, that's right. That's right. The art major.
Sophia is the art major.
Yes.
Right. PChem.
Indeed.
PChem, I think, was the weed out class. It was either second half of freshman year or the beginning of sophomore year, which caused a lot of people to change majors. So
Probably.
Sophia, what kind of books are you carrying around? Like maybe a big old tome on art history that is everything from like
art.
early man through the Renaissance and Contrapposto and Michelangelo's David into Dadaism and Cubism and all that.
Let's say it's this. Can you?
Art.
Yeah, art.
Oh, okay.
That's a proper book right there. Look at
A
that.
world of art.
A world of art. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to ask you who's Art, and does he know that you have his book? But all right,
Just
wonderful.
art history, different types of art.
Mm-hmm.
Probably learning about Picasso and
What's it here?
Renaissance, Baroque goodness.
Yeah. As a student aide, Sophia,
Yeah.
do you help in one of the like artwork labs, like firing up the kiln and keeping the pottery wheels oiled and spinning, and keeping the art supplies stocked, or do you do more of like a library aid? Like, I'm wondering what your interest is
I
in.
remember that I was an aide in what's his name? The literature
Oh.
teacher.
Was that Jackson?
Yeah. No, not him.
McClanahan?
was-
Glenn Mack?
Yes.
Okay, so Glenn Mack is the head of the archaeology department.
Yeah.
So such work that he would have for you would be rather dull. It would be maybe cleaning small bits of pottery and arrowheads, probably found in the vicinity of the old Caddoan burial mounds, the Indian burial mounds. which is also abuts a campground, not too far from the big thicket. His building is one of the least attractive on campus. They're always talking about giving it a freshening up, but funding always goes to the athletic program or, I don't know, to the president's estate, which is right on campus, or beautification of the grounds. Poor Glenn Mack. His building's kind of stuffy, and nothing's really fresh. Everything's sort of faded. Might have been a
He needs
nice,
a mural on
yeah,
his walls. Fresh coat
yeah,
of paint.
yeah, a nice bright mural. Um, but yeah, that's your kind of teacher's aide sort of side jaunt,
Hmm.
and you can overhear some things. You probably were the one that knew that Glenn Mack was on a date tonight, because although you were all around when a woman stopped by with a folded sheet of paper with a lovely pine box lawyer, her bio sheet, you actually overheard him talking to somebody about making plans to get together and go out and have dinner and some other activities, maybe a show. So very good. You all do your studying, comic book reading, uh, Gatorade swilling, movie watching, Rocco the service dog petting and sneaking of treats. One of you might tackle that task of doing the dishes, as there are various bowls and a cheese grater and a big pot um, that needs a good thorough scrubbing. And you
Shep
don't
is
want,
not touching the instruments of his torture.
yeah. And yeah, you all, unless there's anything further, um, have a very satisfying and restful night's sleep. So that was Thursday. Today is Friday. I'd imagine you go to classes. It's a little early in the semester to make a habit of skipping, and you're still getting into your rhythm, finding out what teachers have a somewhat lax attendance policy, which teachers have the same class offered later in the day or on alternating days, that if you miss that class, no worries, she's just going to do the same lecture, instead of Monday at 9, probably like Tuesday at 11. So you can swap around like that, play little games to free up blocks of time. But yeah, you go to your classes, and around, we'll say it's a little bit after 2, um, you all are kind of meeting back at the apartment, just kind of sprawled out on the various overstuffed upholstered chairs and couches. And yeah, you realize, well, we're all done for the day. And before you really crack into your homework, you might want to take a trip into town.
Yeah,
Um,
shopping trip.
um,
Shopping trip. Pawn shop. Bring
I,
your allowance.
I
I've got my
guess,
allowance.
I guess it's possible you might want to stop into the pizza barn, maybe, to see if that
Oh, we
nice.
didn't go last night
No, we didn't.
because we don't have her number, so we weren't able to let her know. Um, but oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart on her name, but I remember that she had a scar on her face or something happened to her face. Yes.
That's her.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany Poe. Um,
Brittany Poe.
um, you think you overheard, or maybe um, one of the other customers was talking to her about it, maybe at an adjoining booth. That as a small child, she went through a plate glass window of a door,
Mm.
and did manage to slice herself up um, pretty badly. It's sort of faded over time, but it would seem that cosmetic surgery and the like was probably not in the family budget, as she does have a kind of a down home Southern kind of way of speaking, and she may have hinted that she isn't from a wealthy family. She'll admit that she's country through and through, and she loves her Pinebox, Texas, and she loves working at the pizza bar. And if y'all want to stop by on Friday or Saturday night, they move some of the tables and make like a little dance floor, and they have some live bands. And y'all
Oh.
know that there's that mechanical bull, and y'all will try your skill and your luck at staying on that bull. It's over there, and it's only $1.25 to take a 8-second ride. Says because
So
that's
funny.
usually all anybody takes is 8 seconds to get
I bet
bucked up.
Erica holds a record here.
Oh, well,
Right? Can you imagine poor Ava just sitting on that thing? She's gonna fling out the window. Goodness gracious.
whoa.
Man. That's hilarious though. I put her on that thing though, just to see how long she actually lasts. It's hilarious.
Let's see on a dare. Last time Erica was on that. Oh, you guys can't
Definitely has the
see.
record.
Did we celebrate her victory or?
With a D6 in writing, she rolled a 23. She
Glorious.
she broke that cow. And yeah, you know what? There's probably a plaque on there each time the record's broken, and we'll
Probably got a
say it's
picture on the wall and everything.
Erica McClintock. You know, at the end of last year, at the end of the last school year, we'll say it was in like early to mid May, and we'll just go with 23. She rode the bull for 23 seconds, and dismounted by choice.
Of course. Oh goodness. So
knowing Erica, she would have forced all of us to ride.
right. That would have been hilarious.
She would support anyone who wanted to get on there, and she'd give them a couple tips about how it's not your hands and your arms holding onto the reins; it's all in the thighs. You know, clench your thighs together when that thing starts bucking. It gives you a little bit of stability, and stuff like that. You know, it starts off slow, but you know, don't be deceived. It gets, you know, because it not only does it buck up and down, but it spins around too, and it's harder than it looks.
I bet.
Of course, for somebody like me, you know, second nature. I've been busting Broncos since I was, you know, knee high to a whatever, knee high to a. She's going to say
Skip didn't go anywhere. Slid off as he tried to get up on top of it.
Oh no.
Shep got on it, and the first time it slowly reared up, he just kind of slid off the back and landed on his feet and said, "I'm done."
Oh no.
Um,
Oh, that's too funny.
I think Sophia made one full revolution, but yeah, she was on her belly, and her legs somehow slid off on the same side, and she sort of landed standing up and then fell back unceremoniously onto her keister. Not a bad landing. Certainly didn't shock you or anything.
That is definitely an unskilled role for little Ava. Hey.
Ava, they had to pull out like a little footstool for you to get on.
Yes.
And they put it on like the kiddie setting. And yeah, in about 3 or 4 seconds you were done.
Yes. Oh, I love it. It's so good. She's used to having a footstool. She's got one back at the house, I'm sure. Have to reach the sink and everything else.
We're approaching an hour. Do you need to like restart or stop recording?
Sure. We'll do that, and we'll pick back up at the pizza barn. Or
all right,
you could choose to skip that chapter altogether and go right to Fork It Up Pawn Shop. Or you could do in this game, in this world, in this campaign, in this sandbox, you can go anywhere that you can reasonably think you might want to go.
Disneyland?
Sure.
Disneyland.
Why, certainly.
I don't know if Texas has a Disneyland.
Next semester.
Road trip to Florida.
Next
That's right.
semester.
ETU, studies abroad.
The catch is that it's Florida.
Yeah. But on the good side, it's Florida.